All right, guys, welcome to episode number 51 of the KFO show, brought to you by the Wendell Fishing YouTube channel. So if you love kayak fishing, fishing in general, head over to wendellfishing.com. There are over 900 videos on the subject. And make sure you leave a comment if you stop by. If you are not live and you're listening to the podcast, maybe you're working on your kayak, out fishing, driving to and from work, whatever it may be, I would love to hear from you. Again, a lot of you guys and girls will reach out to me via Facebook. And so every single week. And so I love interacting with you. Please, if that's you, don't stop by and kind of be a ghost. I don't know you're there unless you say something. So I'd love to hear from you. A couple new things this past week on Facebook. I actually created a new group called Kayak Fishing Freaks. If you are a kayak fishing freak, I'd love for you to join that group. Just another community we're trying to build around the love of kayak fishing. And so remember, this is recorded as an interactive kind of podcast. So if you're live, it's the expectation that you interact. So if you got questions or comments, throw them in here. I do my best. Actually, I've heard a lot of feedback from many of you, and you're like, "Hey, what I love about the live show, about the podcast, is that you just don't rant and just talk to your guests the entire time. You actually engage with the audience." And so thank you all who come on, and thank you all who actually interact down there. So we'll be taking questions all throughout the show. But I'd like to bring on my guest now, not from Maine, by the way, which I thought for the last years, but out of New York, New Jersey. I don't know which one. He has both on his channel, but making his way into the tournament scene, Jermaine.
Yes.
Welcome. Not from Maine. Why?
You
confused the crap out of me.
Yeah, I get that question all the time.
So it's from Jermaine.
Yes.
But why stream? Explain a couple things. One, that because I was confused all till about a few hours ago when I started looking at your channel.
So the name that just came from, I was fishing during COVID, and one of my guys was like, "Yo, are you really gonna start the channel?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm thinking about it." And he threw that name out there, and I was like, "Yo, that's all right. It kind of works." And the funny thing is, I don't even fish with him anymore. He doesn't fish. He went back to regular life.
Ooh,
I know.
Well, you know how many times I actually hear that? Like I hear stories how they got involved and people got YouTube channel and they got into like kayak fishing together. And now they're the only ones left because everyone else had to go back to like their jobs and life post COVID. Oh wow, we have 40 comments over here. I don't even know. Everyone's just saying hi to themselves right now, to each other.
Right? Yeah, everyone's saying hi.
All right, we'll keep on rocking through. Tell me how you got into how long you've been fishing, and I always love the fascinating story of kind of like why you started filming. I know you kind of just briefly shared it, but kind of unpack it for us a little bit more. And also, I don't do this a lot, but I like to know what people do for a living, because a lot of times it informs their answers along. And so I'm just curious on that too, if you're willing to share.
That's okay. So how I got into fishing, apparently I caught my first fish before I could walk, according to my father, because my dad was a big fisherman. So He said he had me sitting on the tackle box before I could walk, and he had a pole in my hand. So I've been fishing pretty much throughout. I took a nice break from like 15 to till COVID, I would say, because I was like, I guess, too cool and partying and drinking and doing all that stuff. And then COVID happened. I played Call of Duty for 3-4 months straight, and I was like, can't do this anymore. I need to be outside. And then I started fishing again, and I fell in love. And then I started posting pictures of the fish I was catching, and I started getting some comments like, "Yo, you're catching some good ones. You should make a video of it." And I'm like, And then I got some work points. I got pretty much a GoPro. I got a GoPro 10 for free.
Oh, come on. There you go.
Like, all right, well, if I'm going anyway, might as well stick this thing to my chest and just do it. And then I got a kayak from a guy whose brother who I worked with. And then for work, you were asking that too. And then I sell cars. So I sell Dodge and Ram.
Okay. You must be doing pretty good if you're getting work points and getting free GoPros out of it.
Yeah,
so.
I'm doing all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Oh, I love it. So, like there's so many. That was quite the opportunity time frame to start your channel, right?
Yes.
Because there is a smorgasbord of individuals who want to start now, and as everybody knows, they're and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but everywhere. I mean, it's easy to
Yeah.
a camera on you nowadays. It's
Yep.
really easy to edit. That's the easy part. It used to be the
I
hard.
don't know if I would call it easy, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it used to be like thousands just to get the equipment to do it.
Right. Well, the easy part is like this. What I meant by that is in comparison to like getting actually eyeballs on it now. That
Yeah.
it's wild and crazy, but still do it if you're out there still thinking about do it. You just gotta start. I'm not gonna go down that line. I've gone down that line before, but nonetheless, I know there's still people out there like and they've been thinking about it for 6 months. Like you just never know. Just start, go for it. All right, so sell cars. That's awesome. Started filming this bad boy. This is a kayak fishing channel. So walk us through. I always start here because sometimes I'll go through the entire show. I was like, I didn't even ask what kayak they're in, and this is Kayak Fishing Obsessed. So
Yeah.
walk me through your rig, and if it's your only rig, or if you had rigs before this, and what you love about it, what you don't like about it. We'll get that going.
So this is I have a Wilderness Attack 120. It's my first official fishing kayak. One of the guys that I worked with, his brother, is actually ranked in KBF. I think he was number 1 in New York a couple times or something like that a couple years back.
Okay.
So he's pretty decent. And he's got the big boy Hobie with the motor and the pedal drive. He's like fully kitted out. And he had an extra one and he was like, "Hey, yo, do you want it? You want it?" And he gave me a good price on it. So I jumped on that. But
Nice.
I'm still paddling. No
Ooh.
electronics.
Ooh, you're like OG.
Yeah, I'm kind of just out here right now. But I mean, I use the good old iPhone. I check a few things before I go out and kind of use my map to just kind of position me in a spot where I'm like, okay, I feel as though there should be something here and kind of just go with the gut,
All right, we'll get into some details on that as far as how to fish with no electronics. But your yak, you hoping to upgrade anytime soon, or do you like the paddle?
So I was looking to get a pedal drive. It actually just fell through.
Oh no!
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
What was it?
One of the guys, it was a native, the native 12.5.
Yeah.
And he was going to give me a sick deal on it, but I just, with the holidays and life right now, I just don't have that extra $1,500 to go throw over there. So,
if anybody needs a Dodge Ram, go talk to my man Jermaine. So
yeah,
I'll get a pedal drive kayak.
Yeah, help me out. But yeah, I told him and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll hold on to it." And then somebody else called him and said they had money now. And I was like, "Nope, I get it. I understand. I'm a salesman. So trust me, I get it. I was like, look, I don't have it right now. So it's okay. But I'm looking.
So are you stuck on the what is that, a 12.5? That a max?
Yeah, Slayer Max, I think it was. No, it was just what became available. I mean, I do like the natives. I kind of do because I'm a big Greg Blanchard fan.
Yep.
So I kind of like the natives, but I'm not like married to anything. It's kind of like best deal kind of situation looking for me right now.
Yeah. So I've been, I always go on Facebook Marketplace just for fun to see what's local. And there's some sick deals right now out there. If you were looking to upgrade a kayak, like now's the time. Like I'm finding, and Bucktail just wrote up here, and we have a joke because there was this Bonafide P127 that was like neon yellow. We call it the sun. He passed on it. I just saw that exact same kayak in my area for like $1,600, which is like half off. And that is a sick ride. Love mine. Nonetheless, if you're looking for a kayak, don't wait. Now's the time when everyone else is like, I don't want to store these things. And my wife wants to park her car in the garage and all these things. So have you been in a Bonafide, the P127 at all? Same motor as the native?
No, I havenent.
Because
I've never been in a paddle.
I've met you in person. You're a big guy.
Yeah. I'm pretty large.
Okay. No, if you have a chance, if you're not searching the P127, look for that too. If you just never know, $1,600,
Okay.
and that's like a $3,200 kayak MSRP.
And you said it was $600?
No, it was 1,600.
Oh, 16. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you buy the
Yeah.
motor alone, they're like $900 just for the motor. So
Okay.
it's
I mean, like I said, I'm not married to anything. That's just what became available.
yeah.
So we'll see. Something else will pop up.
No, yeah, absolutely. 100%. All right. I got don't know if I should ask this. Got a question from the audience over here. Darren, ask Maine how long he's been with his girlfriend without making her his Beyonce. Oh,
that's Frank. Oh my goodness.
Interactive show, Jermaine. Interactive show.
Yeah, no, it's Frank. That's my boy. Frank's allowed. And I gave him the ammunition because I would go live on Mondays, and I didn't go live yesterday because me and my girl have been together for 7 years.
All right. All right.
7-year anniversary. So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. No rush. No rush or anything, but I'll take care of the business soon if y'all really need to know.
I just saying, if the money thing, he's not scared that the kayak went through. I deduction reasoning there. I'm not gonna say anything. We're gonna move on from that conversation. So I did a poll. And now we're going to enter into the theme of the show, which is how to catch bass with no electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a poll. Let me share my screen here. Let me present. See if I can do this. I don't do this very often, so here it is. All right. Do you use a fish finder? Posted this yesterday morning. 2,300 votes on this bad boy. 39% do use a fish finder. 61% do not use a fish finder. So the majority of the people who follow and watch this channel do not. 61%, which is crazy. Now let's read some of the comments here, because this is fascinating to me. I do like my fish finder, but I use it just for water temp, depth, locating structure, rock beds, that kind of thing. You'd be surprised how many comments were wrapped around that. Not actually for locating physical fish, but all the places that hold the fish, right?
Yep. I think that's what I commented too.
Yeah, did you? Okay. I'm gonna read some of the other ones here. If I get another kayak this year, I'm hoping to get a hummingbird for it. Right on. I don't have one. I really want one. I want it for measuring depth, underwater structure, hidden, blah, 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 blah. Right? Same thing. I use it as a depth finder that sometimes spots fish. Someone's like, yeah, it's called a spinner bait. That's his fish finder. I'm the fish finder. So I can appreciate that. Right. I fished for a long time without a fish finder. He's like, that's half the fun. Hey, if that's where you find your fun, 100%. And of course, we got some bank anglers in here. And so unless you throw one, here's your comment here. And it says, piece of me wants to stay where I am now, but I really want a side or 360 down imaging, if anything.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you're on the fence a little bit.
I see that 360 and like you could just see everything around you. And I'm like I could just, I don't, like I said, I don't want to do the whole live scope thing and like see the fish and see the blip. I just want to see the tree that's like underwater, like where I go, oh, okay. That's why I've been fishing that spot for the last 2 years and I've always been catching fish in between this rock and this tree. You know what I mean? It's like, I just know that like I know this one spot on one of the lakes that I fish all the time. There's a drain pipe. And then like between that drain pipe and then like another 50 yards down, I've caught like 3 or 4 good fish. One of them was the fish that sent me to Knucklehead.
Nice.
So it was like a 20.5. And I'm like, okay. And I, like my dad always said, there's something there that you can't see, boy. Yeah, I know there's something there, but I just like, I want to scan it and be like, okay, there's a laydown. Okay, there's 3 big boulders or like something they're coming off of and eating off of, but I don't know. That's all I really wanted for.
No, I hear you. We'll hop in after I share this, but I didn't fish with a fish finder for a very, very, very long time. And when you don't fish with a fish finder, you typically are kind of limited to the bank unless you did your map studies and other ways that we're going to talk about how you can get in kind of open water. But it blew my mind because I upgraded from a Garmin Striker 4 to a Garmin UHD 92 SV, which is side
Mhm.
view, which is side scan, but also has down scan or clear view. And I fish a bunch of lakes around here all the time, and I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me. I never knew that giant tree was here.
Right?
Or I'd
That's it.
always fish to the left when I should have been fishing to the right every single time. And it's like, holy cow. So it is, and I've heard some comments on that thread, like, oh, I got a fish finder. Most people don't know how to use their fish finder when they buy it.
Yep.
It is amazing how many people have commented. I have one. Here's my favorite comment. I brought this up earlier. I'd be the first to say I have one. It's on. I can tell how deep it is, but I'll be damned if I really know how to use it. But if my wife asked, it detects a ripple in the water. that was his
Yep.
response. And I kept getting that over and over again. I turned it on. It shows depth. I'm not sure how to use this freaking thing. So I actually just started a series, video series. I got my first video going live on Sunday, which starts to unpack fish finders. It's people put so much money into these things and they don't take the time to learn how to utilize them because they're not the easiest things to learn.
Yeah.
If you really dive into it, the learning curve is kind of high. And if you buy one in the middle of fishing season, you just want to go fishing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's like learning new lures.
It is, but man, it's
confidence. You don't. There's no confidence in it, so you kind of just start to like phase it out.
Exactly, 100%,
Go back to what's working.
Yeah, and Mike commented just now. There's a lot of great instructional videos on YouTube specific to certain units. Absolutely, and mine will be specific to Garmin UHD and the Ultra series. But yeah, but you have to watch a few over and over again because how those things display are kind of fascinating. It's not like super easy, and you got to know how to do like the backwards math to know actually where those fish are.
Exactly.
Anyways, wild and crazy. All right, let's top off that a little bit. So now we talked a little about electronics. Impossible to have this conversation, not talk a little bit about them. Let's talk about fishing without them. Because when I asked you kind of what are the things you feel like you're, fairly proficient in or pretty good in, and you made it to knucklehead. So you mean you're pretty good at it, right? The 20.5 inch is a beast up here in New York and New Jersey. Those are big fish up here.
Those are good ones.
From your right, yeah, if you're from around the country. So walk me through. And I had a hard time because when I'm asking, I put together questions, and I was like, okay, it's been such a long time until I really broke down what I actually think through, because things synapse like it's second nature when you're on your kayak, and you don't think about why you're throwing it here, why you're throwing it over there, or why you skip it and why you've changed out a lure. And it took me days to kind of write down notes of what just becomes nature after so much time on the water, years to kind of extract that. And I've been trying to put that in my videos and stuff, but I feel like I did an okay job on it. But I want to hear from you, and I got some points. I put some notes down as well, but I'll let you take it from here. Those instincts that you're talking about, what are those for you?
Oh, wow. It's kind of like a loaded question, but I mean, like more or less just like using the bank and like seeing what's around you. And like you said, I can't, it's so hard to just explain and to put into words. So like, I guess like the knucklehead's an example I could use. So like, I don't have electronics. So I was kind of going over a grass patch and like going over the grass patch when the grass, like the visibility, you could see like maybe like 2-3 feet into the water, and maybe not that far, maybe like a foot of visibility.
Yep.
And I could see where the grass would just stop. So I would know, like in my head, I already know grass grows in about 6 to 8 feet of water. And then after that, it kind of stops unless it's like some crazy grass, but most grass kind of stops at that at that level. So that's kind of that's the grass line. So like in my situation, I knew that they were in the grass. So I was floating down. I floated over another grass patch and I said, okay, I'm where I need to be. I don't know if you've seen the video. On that next cast, I caught the big one.
Okay.
So
how did I miss that?
Yeah. It's
Is it
in that.
on your YouTube video?
Oh, you know what? I know I didn't. I posted a short. I didn't post that one yet. I
And
need
that's
to.
why I was all over your
My
YouTube
butt.
channel
I
today.
need to get my butt into gear. But yeah, that one's coming up. I'm hopefully going to get it out Thursday. We'll see. I got
Okay.
a 6 cent sack I need to post too.
Yeah, I think it's important to know, like, okay, things only grow so large, right? Lily
Yeah,
pads typically won't grow over 6 feet, kind of like grass,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
It could be shorter, obviously, but
Yes.
that line where it ends, the
Mhm.
edge of the lily pad, you're usually
Exactly.
looking at 6 feet. That tells you all kinds of information, right?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
what to throw, what lure to throw, if it's visibility is
So
going to
it's
help
kind
out
of
a
yeah,
lot.
it's kind of just like you said, it's a lot. It's more about time on the water, but just throwing to yourself like what I did this year. The biggest thing, like my biggest step forward, was I just threw myself into a kayak club, and I just tried to get to as many events as I could.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
was I a donation 3 or 4 events? Yes. I'm just I was skunked out. The first 2 events I went to, and it's a topic I'm going to bring up on my channel. I went and I fished the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I catch with a chatterbait. I catch with this. I catch with this. I know what I'm doing. And I went and fished the whole day, didn't listen to the fish and said, and I skunked two tournaments in a row.
Oh,
And then I said, you know what? Let me start to listen to some of the other guys. Let me see. And then if you want to go into that, I don't know if you want to transition, but then
we
I
can go wherever you want. So this
started
is
to get into some of the confidence lures of the year and things like that. So
well. Let's before we go there. I want to bring up some ideas, right? So
mhm.
what do you do before you even leave the house, right? Do you do prep on a new lake? So this is
Yes.
all without electronics. What are you looking for specifically?
So what I'm kind of looking for is like let's talk. I'm going to talk about like I guess spring because that's kind of be the next scenario where I'll be fishing in the tournament scene. Um, I'll be looking for the upslopes. That like where can they get to like a flat kind of so like where it kind of goes from like relative deeper water to like a somewhat of like a 4 or 5 foot flat, and then at the end of that 4 or 5 foot flat there might be like 2 or 3 feet of water where they could spawn.
Okay.
Because they kind of like, from my knowledge, I'm not saying I'm a pro or anything, they kind of creep up the ledge depending on the temperature.
And the
So
clarity of the water,
yeah, and the
right?
clarity of
You
the
got to get
water.
those
Yeah,
eggs
exactly.
yep, the right
And my
amount of
dad,
sunlight.
one of the big things my dad always taught me is Big Mama likes to be one tail swoosh away from being, getting the hell out of Dodge, as he used to always say. So she's going to be sitting on that, right on that ledge of that 5 to 8 foot, so she can just scoot down if something scares her or something she don't like or whatever happens. She's going to be sitting right there so she can just boogie and go to deep water and be safe.
Yep.
But in the same breath, if that first time she gets those 3-4 days of that 65, there she goes. Now she's going up to spawn. So she's going to be, for me, I'm going to look at that. Where's that, that 3 to 8 foot range, and where does it kind of creep slowly? And I'll look at like, maybe I'll try to mark a couple of those areas and then like protected from the wind, depending on which way the wind's blowing. And then, I'll try to pick out a few of those areas and I'll kind of just start there. That's kind of like what I'm looking for.
No, there you go. I mean, I think one of the things we got to remember is that these big giant bass were once little tiny bass. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
about you, but where I'm at, there's bald eagles and blue herons like freaking everywhere.
Yes.
And so they
Yes.
have this instinct, and of course their eyes on the top of their head. And so they always want like an escape route, right?
Yes.
Deeper water is escape route for birds. And so you keeping that in mind always is typically helpful.
That's why they don't
Now,
like shadows.
yeah, right. There you go. All right, here we go. Let me see. I got some questions here from people. Mike Vogel, regarding
That's
fishing without electronics, Milliken recently posted on Instagram that the most important fishing electronics is breaking on the lake map long before he's on the water. How do you feel about that?
I agree. Because I think like literally every tournament, everything I've ever done, every spot that I've fished, I picked it before I got there.
So
I get
walk me
off
through
the
your
map.
pre-fishing strategy then, like
So
map wise.
like so right now what I do is first off is I have a paddle. So I know I can only go. but so far, so fast. And then I got to worry about everybody. So everybody else in my kayak club has a pedal drive and or a motor.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only guy with just a paddle. So I literally will pick like a section and say, okay, this bank has quality features that I'm looking for this season for 100 yards, or majority of that area has what I'm looking for that time and season. I can fish there and I can kind of hopefully get on some fish. Otherwise, it's going to take me 30, 40 minutes to get somewhere else where it might take somebody else 10, 15.
That makes me just want to buy a pedal drive for you.
Yeah. So like, I'm going to try to get a recording of it. It's honestly depressing. Like when boats in at my town tournament club, you just hear it.
All the torpedoes, all the Newports, all the 6
And here I am. And they just, my boy's sitting like this, literally.
Checking his phone.
And I'm just like, oh, I almost want to like push him in, like, you know, like, oh man. I'm sweating. 6:30 and I'm sweating.
No, I hear you. I had a pedal drive. I'm getting ready. On Facebook during Black Friday. I don't know Facebook, but Newport Vessels was doing a Black Friday sale, and their Newports they're originally like a G. Were only like 700 by the time you got all your deals and stuff with it. So like, oh, I've got to get one, and it fits perfectly on my 127, and so getting ready to do the install for that, and there'll be a video.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to finally get.
That's what everyone has in my club. Almost.
Yeah,
everyone.
I mean, they're so cheap. You can get the batteries fairly cheap, and it's 24-volt system, but there's a lot of great 50 amp hour options out there. But man, I cannot wait. Just here's one of the reasons why. In the spring, which everybody living in the north is already dreaming about, and we've only been off the water for like a week, but there is a place on some of the lakes where I fish, one in particular that it takes me a while to get to when I pedal. And these two other old men, and I love them, but they're in boats, and they beat me to it by like 30 seconds every single time. And it's only enough like area for just a couple boats in. And so I was like, I am not getting beat this year to this spot. Like it doesn't matter how early I got up. They would just, they'd see me from across the lake and just crank up their engine and beat me there. I was like, oh my goodness, not this.
You're like, time. I got something for you this year.
Not that guy. Yeah, I got a little something for you this year. 5 miles an hour.
Yeah. Ready.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Here, we had a comment over here. Let me see. We had a couple of comments. Oh, where'd they go? Bucktail. Let me see here. Oh, this is kind of to earlier. This is why I think calling it instinct fishing is a misnomer. It's a learned thing. Lots of practice, keen observations, trial and error. Amen to that.
Yes,
it's
sir.
a hard-earned, learned ability.
A lot of error.
Yeah, right.
A lot of error.
There's some wisdom there. That is for sure. I had other comments here, but I don't know where they went. I'm having some computer issues as we go anyways. I had saved them. There's so many going through like on my system over here. I can save them, but for some reason my starred comments.
Starred one? I only see 4 now.
Yeah, I think I lost one. It's all good. Okay. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? But yeah, I am over here trying to have a conversation. It's kind of difficult. I wish I had someone to like do it with. It's hard to do. You have your own show that you do, so you get it.
No, I do. I think Brendan's in here. Me and Brendan kind of go live together for that reason. So, because it's a lot to manage when it's just you. Like right now, I'm kind of like, I'm just chilling and just talking because it's your show.
Yeah.
So I get to sit back and just talk. But when it is my show, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. And it's
you got to be present too. So it's kind of wild. So that's Brendan Brown, Brown Baits,
Brown Breako. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about Brown Breako because I see it all over your show and stuff like that.
Is it within reach? No, I'm sorry, Brendan. I should. Oh, it's in the closet. Brendan makes baits.
Really I've seen them. They look freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Almost those wake baits look sick.
Yeah, I got one in there. I should have. I actually. I don't want to throw it. He's going to fight me because he wants me to throw it and catch on it.
Because it's
Obviously,
so
but
beautiful that you don't
yeah,
want to nick it
it's a
or
piece
lose
of
it.
art. The kid's great. He's 18. It's like the knowledge he has. I some of it I probably still don't have, but
Yeah.
he's good at what he does. He's getting better. I've watched him grow.
Yeah.
And beyond all that, he's just a caring person. I blew my knee out and I was depressed, and the kid checked on me. So I appreciate that. He's a good person above
Respect.
everything else. So that's my boy.
Respect to people who care for other humans. So that's
That's it.
awesome. All right. So let's still stay around how to catch bass in those electronics. So when, I think one of the things, how do you tell for clues what's under the water? Like, what are you doing there?
Obviously, good old Debo, fine wood, pitch to wood.
Sure.
That's lay downs, cover. And then a big thing too is looking at the bank. Most of the time, it's not always true. Most of the time, if the bank is like there's a gradual hill on the bank, going into the water, it's gonna kind of stay the same. But then if
Yeah.
you go to the bank and you see like there's like a steep mountain, it's probably gonna be a big drop off right there as well when you go in the water. Most of the time, it's like that. So using those keys, like if you're fishing up shallow and you're not catching anything all day, well then maybe go fish in front of that rock that's straight up and down, and you're
Right.
like, oh, okay, that mountain right there, that's probably some deeper water. I guess that's kind of one of the clues I use.
Yeah, I think that's key.
Birds.
I want to kind of add to that. Typically, those contours
Mm-hmm.
of the lake, right? They don't stop. It's kind of dumb. Like as we're talking about this, you're like, yeah, no joke, Darren. When you're out in the water and you can't see what's under the water, you almost like turn it off in your brain. Like, I don't know what's down there. I don't know, whatever. But the
Yeah.
reality is all these contours actually likely go very long, like considerable distance underwater, right? So if you have this point, it doesn't just kind of dissolve in the water and stop. Like that point is going out
Yeah, it's
a
probably going
very
out.
long
Yeah.
way, like longer than you think it is.
Yeah.
Right? And so think about that, because you might go to the inside corner of the point, not catch any fish, but not realize it's actually probably 40 yards
Exactly.
further out, and all around that horn could
Yep.
be where the bass are kind of held up
Exactly.
on. And yeah, and
More
perfect.
than likely, that's once going back to what I said earlier. That's where Big Mama's sitting because she can get up and go feed, and she
Yep.
can get down and get out of the dodge. So
Yeah. But
that's probably where the big ones are fishing.
I'll say it again. This is super important. So now you're kind of fishing like open water, right? You're 40 yards
Yes.
out on this point with no electronics. Like what's bro doing out there? It's like he's reading the contours, right? And so longer than you think is the key here, right?
Yeah.
Considerable distance.
Drag a jig.
There you go.
Drag a jig.
There you go. So let's switch gears. What do you look for when it comes to wildlife clues?
Birds.
What do you
Trust
got
the
where you're at?
birds. We got blue herring. I'll probably
Yeah.
get some jokes about that here.
Yeah,
shortly.
I saw a couple. You get attacked by a blue. Oh, you did. I saw a video. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Who gets attacked by a blue heron?
I caught a good fish, and I was bank fishing. I flipped him onto the bank.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he just came right at me, and he was gonna try to steal my fish. And like, I wasn't really worried about the bird. I was more worried about the hook, and like I didn't want to hook the bird.
Right, because then you got
because now I got the fish hook and so like I just threw the fish back in the water, and the fish starts to swim off, and I still got him hooked, and I like pulled my line over the bird, ran down a little bit, reeled the fish back in, pulled them in, ran, and then he flew at me again. Now I got the bass in my hand, and I just ran around this little building and threw the fish back in the water.
Tell me you had a camera.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it on camera? I got to go watch it.
It's all on there. It's all on there.
I've got to go watch this.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So what else are you looking for wildlife-wise?
I don't know what they're called. What are those things that swim underwater, the blackbirds?
Oh, those cormorant thingies?
Yeah, those things.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently I've heard they're lake killers, which is not. I hope.
Yeah,
not.
I hate those things. Will eat a lake like a those otters do. My goodness.
Oof. Okay. Well, I hope they don't because there's a lot of them around here. But um, I look for those because those they eat fish too, right?
Like they're really small minnows. You know you're on a bait
Yeah.
ball, and those things are just and they
Okay.
make a racket. I mean, you'll know because you hear them because there's these things are flapping around and going
Yeah.
crazy.
Exactly. So I kind of look for those things. Um.
Yeah, cormorants, there they are.
Yeah.
Bucktail says that they're good bait fish finders. Yes, they are.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Most of that. Those are kind of like the two big birds that we have around.
So if you see like, obviously you'll see small bait fish. Are you one of those guys you're like, okay, I just saw like 4 or 5 small bluegill, 3 to 4 inches, and you're switching out baits in that moment? Um,
Uh,
or you're like, I
I
should, but I
lack on
don't.
that. I don't switch as much as I should. I will say that. I don't switch as much as I should.
Okay. Um, Here's one I have, and you can kind of piggy on it if you want. I realized early on I didn't fully understand bass in the sense of like becoming a behavioral expert on them. And so anytime I go target a kind of new type of fish, or especially when I started out largemouth bass fishing, I became an expert. You can see some of my earlier videos were
Hmm.
around largemouth bass, how they hunt, how they hide, how they transition, the type of ambush predators that they are. And once it helped more than you think it would,
Hmm.
because I can't tell you how many times I've been reminded of that video, and it helps inform how I'm fishing, how I'm retrieving. And so that was huge for me, kind of becoming an expert on the target fish that you're going after. And you'd be surprised what you don't know,
Yeah.
right? About that fish.
So I
And
think a big thing that we do with fish a lot, and I think we do with a lot of animals in general, we humanize them. We what would I do? Like, no, no, no. It's something completely different. Like, like they don't need to. The food doesn't need to look good to them. Humans have gotten to a point where we're so advanced that we can go pick so many different options. Like we're there now. We want it to all look good and look perfect and look made our plate. They don't like you said, they're just more like opportunity, yay or nay.
right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
And
literally all they do is, oh, there's an opportunity. Do I want to or not? Okay.
yeah,
That's that's kind of it.
right. And once you start piecing all the other pieces together, right? Okay, opportunity, um, cold-blooded, I want easy meal
Yeah.
that's super
I'll
slow.
chase or I'll not. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Or
So
yeah,
now you're like,
exactly.
you attach that to water temperature,
Yep.
and then you start getting somewhere, and then you attach that to water temperature to something else that to polarized optics, to time of the year, to spawning stage, and this
Exactly.
is what's going through our brains that we don't
Yeah.
realize it's going through our brains, because we've trained our brains over years to put all this stuff together. Like that's what
Yep.
makes a great angler, right? That's why you can take two guys, two girls, whatever, put them side by side in a kayak, put the same lure on the same line on the same rod, and one person slays that day and the other person
Yep.
gets
And the
skunked.
other person doesn't.
It's
Yep.
it's it's wild,
It
right?
really is.
Because it's the nuances um compounded on top of one another that kind of makes fishing what it is, right? Especially with
Yep.
no electronics, right? This is how you do it when you don't have electronics. So that's kind of just a way to get some extra yardage quickly, especially
Yep.
if you're starting out. But if you're OG, and a lot of people are, and they find a lot of joy in that hunt, um, these are the things you gotta think through. Another way that I used to catch fish a lot and tried to locate them. When I started out, man, I had heavy, heavy gear, heavy rods. I mean, and you don't realize it until you get your hands on a nice light
Yeah.
rod or a
Yeah.
lure specific
110%.
rod. And after casting all day, you're like, man, my shoulder hurts, everything's hurting.
Yep.
And so what I would do just to get a break, it's like, oh man, I've been going at it for like hours. I need to stop for at least 5 minutes before I get rotator cuff issues, as I start trolling. And so a lot of my videos, I love those Yak Attack Pro Mega rod holders. You just kind of put them on both sides. I throw a rod out, put some type of crankbait. I know what and I just go. And I can't tell you how many fish I located just by trolling. And so if you don't have electronics, you're not on them, can't find them, you want to fish some open water or go from spot to spot, don't waste that opportunity. You can throw out a rod, troll. I've caught some massive catfish, bass, crappie, all trolling from spot to spot. And I've seen people paddling.
I've never done that.
Oh, yeah. And so instead of wasting 30 minutes from spot to spot, throw a crankbait out. You think you'd be surprised.
That's interesting. I've never done that.
So if you're not fishing with electronics, what water temperature are you typically looking for? Now, granted, we go when we can go, right?
Yeah.
But if you were retired and you're like, hey, if I could choose to go when I wanted to go and I wanted to increase my chances of catching bass, when would you go out?
Like a month?
No, like the water temperature wise.
Oh, 65 to 76.
There it is. I had 65 to 80.
Yeah.
Right there. So if you don't have electronics, but you have like a way to measure the water temperature, I think I had Drew Gregory on. He's like, I keep a temperature gauge. Like you do, like you put it into like meats. And he's like, okay, that's the water temperature on the top, right? So keep that in mind. This gives you an idea.
Range.
That costs $5. Electronics can cost thousands of dollars. So
yeah, use an app or something like that.
You could do that as well. Absolutely. Some people don't like to even like pick up their phone. So I'm going like OG on this.
Yeah. That I understand. Or you know what you do? If you got an anchor wizard, you take your you reach and you put the temperature gauge on the anchor wizard, let it go down, and then pull it back up.
There it is.
And then you could see like, okay, well, the bottom of the lake is this, or you can let it go down a little bit and stop it and bring it up and be like, okay, the middle of the column is this. You get freaky with it.
Yeah, there you go. So how do you pattern bass? Like I would imagine you're on the water enough to kind of pattern them.
Honestly, this year I didn't really get on any too great patterns, but I mean, I just try to, like you said, look for the clues, and then you catch one, and you got to be really mindful of, like, in my eyes, to pattern fish, when you catch one, you got to really ask yourself, what was I just doing? Like, what was I just doing? Do you remember? Like, the video helps a lot because there's times where I can go back and I can say, like there was literally one day I remember, and it taught me a lot about chatterbait fishing. I literally, in my head that day, I told myself I was going to do the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And every time I would go 1, 2, 3 and then stop, I would get hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I learned something. Now I do that a lot, and I do get bites off just changing the rhythm. But kind of forgot where I was going with that. But
no, it's 100%. I'll piggy on that a bit. And I think I learned this a lot through. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, but if ever I get a new bait, I typically will go over to Tactical Bassin, my favorite guys, to kind of teach me how to do it. And something they'll always say is burn, pause, burn, pause.
Yes.
And so the last couple of years, I've been like, okay, instead of killing a retrieve after 4 or 5, after you've kind of done the magic when it first lands, I'll burn it in and stop. And I can't tell you how many fish I caught this past year just on that extra stop when I typically just would have reeled it in and cast again.
Yeah.
Get that extra burn and the extra pause. You'd be surprised how many bass are following it that haven't committed yet. And they essentially will just run into it, and they have nothing better to do than open their mouth and get that easy meal that they've already worked a little bit for. So that is key. Mike M made a good point, and I want to reiterate this because I know, just be careful if you're in a tournament. Lots of tournaments don't allow trolling. That's true. KBF does not allow trolling. This is just for like, where's the fun fishing here, right? So make sure that you following your laws and regulations and tournament regulations there. Good point there, my man. Appreciate that. All right. What else do we have here? Optics. Do you utilize polarized at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Must.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's chit chat a little bit about it. It
Night
is.
and day. I'm not trying to be rude. That's the only thing I will tell anyone that you must do in fishing. I'm not that good. I don't like to tell people to do anything, but you must wear polarized sunglasses, even on cloudy days. Even on cloudy days, it's literally night and day. There's literally times where I caught 4 or 5 pounders because I saw them following it. And I said, "Oh," and stopped.
Mm.
Bink, bink. And then they hit it. And then I'm like, oh my God, if I didn't have these glasses on, I would have just pulled it right up.
Pull it
And
right out.
he would
There
have
it
swam
is.
off. And I'm
Yep.
like, I see the shadow. And I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. And then you do a little something different. And then they hit it. And you're like, oh my God. But polarized sunglasses, definitely a must.
And here's the thing, like you can get wild and crazy with polarized sunglasses. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these things. And I'm sure they're really great. I just can't bring myself to buy a $200 pair of sunglasses I know I'm going to sit on the next day or lose.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I have like Cast King skitaways for like $20.
Whatever you
And
gotta do.
it does the trick. I can't tell you how many are at the bottom of the lake because I'll cast, I'll catch them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can get them with my
That's almost
Kayak
another
net.
better reason to get the cheaper ones.
Right. Unless you're independently wealthy and then go to town. I don't
Yeah.
care. What I'm saying is just you don't need super expensive to get that edge.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. I'll be the first one to say it. I had a nice pair of Ray-Bans that were polarized.
Yeah.
And they became my fishing glasses. And now let's just say they're my fishing glasses, not by choice, but just because they're kind of beat up. So I'm like, I'm not beating up another pair. So
there you go.
Like, it hurt, but it is what it is.
You know, it's I want to talk about glasses a little bit more because you made an interesting point. You wouldn't have been able to see the ones that were following. That's key. And it's not just about sighting fish. What I've noticed with my optics, of course, takes the glare off the water so I can actually see structure better, weed lines better that I wouldn't be able to see and wouldn't be able to identify. And if you tie that in with, for me, fishing from a kayak, having seat risers gives me, I believe, a competitive advantage as well.
I saw that too.
So keeping, well, I'll say about seat risers is, of course, kayaks weren't designed for seat risers, so they would, unless it's built in. So when you put aftermarket 3D printed seat risers, you're putting yourself up higher. It's going to be less stable. Let's get that out of the way. That's fine. Okay, let's say you're fine with your stability. Just having that extra couple inches. I have 3 kayaks. I have a Native Slayer Propel 10, so I like Native. My Bonafide P127. And I have this like sit-in kayak Sun Dolphin that I drag my kids around my lawn on the tractor with. Like it's a beat up row and go. Yeah, right. And that thing, I mean, and they're all like different levels. So I'm inside the orange Sun Dolphin. I can't see a freaking thing. It doesn't matter if I have polarized glasses on or not. I have like 1-inch risers on my Native Slayer Propel 10, and I can see a little bit better. When I put 2 inches on my Bonafide P127, I can't tell you the range of visibility with optics that now I can see, which really helped me. I have pretty good eyesight, so now I'm like, okay, now I can see 20, 30 yards where I need to cast. And
it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. And
especially
so
creeping up to an object and being able to cast over there and getting a good accurate cast. It could be, when you do get into the tournament level, that could be the difference between catching a fish and not catching it.
Yeah.
So I'll take all the advantages.
For sure. Speaking of advantages of fishing with no electronics, that's what we're talking about. If you're hopping in a little bit late, how to catch bass with no electronics, just all the things that you're looking for. A couple of things I was thinking about. Is just simply looking for something different. You mentioned this earlier, but because you're really limited to the amount of water you can cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm typically, if I see a bank line that just looks like a boring bank line, right? It just goes on forever. There is no features. Typically we'll skip it if I have limited time, right? And so you're looking for feature rich as much as you possibly can. Like what's on what lay downs, what things are popping up, what shadows you see, what rock piles, all this stuff. Feature rich shoreline is going to give you that competitive advantage because, of course, that's where the fish like to hold up next to. Some other thoughts. Fishing shadows. This is one I thought about earlier and kind of wild and crazy, but especially, everyone knows. Well, I'm going to say everybody knows, but you want that competitive edge. Typically, dawn and dusk, right? When sun's coming up, sun's coming down. If you can get out during those times, that's great. If you can't, and you're limited to the middle of the day, hot summer, just know you're try to find the shadows. And it's kind of hard
Yeah.
when sun's at noon going straight down. But when it's going straight down, if you have those overhanging trees, like get your skip game on. If you have docks on, because this is where they're going to be, right? And they're not
Yeah.
going to be out roaming. They're trying to find the shade.
Yep.
So, what else? What else do we have here? Any other thoughts on catching bass, no electronics?
I think we covered just about everything on it.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so, I mean,
A lot. It is
I'll
a
say
lot.
it again. It's not just knowing one of these, it's knowing all 100 of them and then being able to, through time on the water and a lot of error, deducing when to pull them out or when to lean heavily into one of those or put a bunch of those together. And once you can do that, you will find yourself on them. On them. It's awesome. All right, we're good. Wow, we're already at 54 minutes here. I got Jermaine from Mainstream Fishing. If you happen to come in, I got a bunch of comments over here. We kind of went on a tirade there.
It goes quick. Doesn't feel like it's 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Some of these comments I can't even repeat. You got to come over for the live show for some of these.
Yeah, right. I saw that.
I love it. So let me see here. What are some nuances? Let's kind of go off the rail. We've been talking about that for a while. Let's talk about lures. This is always fun. So what are your top like few lures from the summer? And then because a lot of us are already dreaming of spring, what are you like polishing up and getting ready to tie on for spring?
So there's one, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it a hype lure, but there's one lure that I really want to get my hands on. I actually have some of them, but they're too small, I think. It's actually, everybody's been talking about this bad boy, the Money Badger.
Oh, Alex Rudd's been selling the crap out of that bad boy and been slaying on it. So
he's been catching them. So this one's the 5. It's a little light. I've been talking about this one, how much this one weighs, 1/4 of an ounce.
Okay.
So I want to get the 6. I think Rudd's been throwing the 6.25.
Okay.
So
that's like a right now bait though.
Yeah, that's like a right now, and going into like going into the spring, I guess like, you could kind of still throw it because it's like a tight wobbling kind
sure.
Bait.
Well, I asked you 2 questions. So let's start about what you slayed on this past year. Your faves.
So I got a couple. Let me see what I got. I got a couple things here. Like a Ned rig was big for me. I know it's nothing like crazy to show off.
Hey,
but
I don't care. I always tell people I throw a freaking baked potato.
Especially like in the tournament scene. You kind of got to. Ned rig, shaky head. I'll go through them quick. Those were 2 big ones. Then the paddle tails for me. This is a Divine, the 6 Sense Divine. This one with the underspin was big for me. And then this here was something new this year. This is the core tackle tush.
Okay, I saw you did a video on that.
Yeah. So if you see like the hook is literally, the weight is in here. It's embedded in there. So it's real natural. I did very well on this, saved me in a tournament. Chatterbaits, nothing crazy. Jackhammer. I like the missile bait spunk shad.
Okay.
That.
What kind of tails on that? I didn't see it.
This one?
Too fast. Yeah. Is that fork tail?
No, it's just a
tapered end.
If it wants to stop. Yeah, just a tapered end.
All right.
4.25. I kind of like the more of the tapered ends on these. Same thing on the Mini Max. The Mini Max was good to me this year. This
you got a pig on that one.
Yeah, I did. On the black and blue.
Yeah, you did. That was a nice fish.
That was my biggest fish of the year.
Was it? What was it?
5.6 or 5.11, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Something around there. That was on the Mini Max. These bad boys, I'm a big fan of the Crush. Oh,
Yeah, it looks like you have a wall of 6 cents behind you.
yeah, I got a few things there. But I got the Crush 50. I got the Silent. This particular one is actually chewed. This is the Bone. I think it's Bone Reactor or Bone, something like that.
Okay.
This one's got chewed up pretty well. And then
Are
I
those
got
custom hooks or are those standard? I don't have a lot of 6 cent stuff.
these are standard hooks. They're sticky sharp. Definitely go get you some 6 cents if you don't have any.
I just need to sign up. They're running some Christmas deal right now.
Yeah, look. One thing about 6 cents too, and you get quality baits they run clearance all year, all the time. And then all their creators have codes, so you can get 10% off that you can combine on top of the clearance. I do not buy them all at full price. So that's this one particular right here slayed for me, and I got it on clearance, and it's got
this one's
got a little bit knocker in it. It's a little bit of they have a slightly different knock in them, other than just like the heavy rattle BBs.
It sounded like there was a couple knockers in there that were
yeah.
Is there two?
It's kind of like it sounds like two that are very close to each other.
Yeah, it's like a gurgle sound almost. Okay,
it's a little interesting. Noise. So I like that. What else I got here? A couple jigs. I love jigs. This one is the Beast Coast Little Stealth. That's one of my favorite jigs. It's a grass jig. It's a front forward. All the weight is in the head, so it falls like straight down and kind of gets you more of a reaction bite. Then I had a lot of success this year with the Divine or the hybrid jigs.
Okay.
From 6 cents. They have like almost like a triangle head.
Yeah, I see that.
Those.
Any particular color?
I forgot what this one is, but it's like a black, almost like a black green pumpkin and some watermelon in there. I think, yeah, because these two are both the same color. Just one's got one's got the 6 cents bongo, and then one's got the stroker crawl on it.
Okay.
And then lastly, this one here is the exact spinnerbait I caught the fish in Alabama on.
Okay.
So it's Divine spinnerbait, 3/8 of an ounce. I think this is the lavender shad.
Okay.
And then I like this one too as well. Caught a bunch of fish on this. You can see it's kind of chewed up there. Bone Truce. These are probably my two favorite colors. Lavender shad. It's like the white and purple. Switch it up a little bit. And then this one is just like a bone. And then they got a little chartreuse in there. Bone Truce, it's called. So, yeah.
Really quick, I noticed, do you run trailer hooks off your spinner?
No. So, especially on this 6 cents, the one I like this one. And I like the Berkeley a lot for this reason. This one does have a screw lock. If I do, I'll run like a juggle or something like very small.
Yep.
But if you can see, this hook is super long. So you don't really need a trailer. And with that super long hook, I always catch them like middle of the cheek.
Okay.
It's almost always in the middle of the cheek or like in the roof of the mouth. So I don't really run a trailer too often, but every now and then I'll throw one on there, but not, like I said, not too often.
Got it. I don't like fishing. It's my least favorite type of fishing. I know you've already gone back and forth. I get it, and I'll bring it out when it's time. Like I know when to fish it. I just don't enjoy it as much. But I will never fish one without a trailer hook. Just me personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't really miss the bites on it. So.
Well, I don't fish that type either. I don't buy new ones, and so I'm just using my old ones, and they don't have that type of hook. So kind of makes sense there. So to share a little bit, what's gonna bring it down the backstretch here. Share about your Gunnersville tournament. I had some guys on. You weren't on that one, which is a bummer. I should have had you on. My bad. But I'm gonna give you time to talk about it. Now, how was that experience for it? Was that like the last tournament of the season for you? Was that like number 3, number 4, number 5?
Last fishing of the season, essentially. I fished the Thursday after that, and that was it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So ever since then, I kind of been done. But yeah, that was amazing. That was I drove down 15 hours.
Jeez.
We stopped.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was. I spent 2 days traveling. Just literally. So I woke up Thursday, drove down. Woke up Thursday at 5 a.m. Drove down. We got there at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Hung out for 2 hours. Went to sleep. Got up, fished. But yeah, it was amazing. It was dope to meet some people. I've said this all around. Like Creek and Trails is probably my favorite person to meet because like you hear his voice and you're like, oh wow, it's Creek, and then you turn around and he's like standing right there, and you're like, oh wow.
Creek Fishing Adventure, John?
Yeah, John. Yeah,
John's like 30 feet taller than I thought he was.
Yeah. Well, he's like the same height as me, so that was kind of like,
what's up, John?
Yeah, that
was the air up there, brother.
I was like, oh wow, somebody's as tall as me. But
so you doing that one again next year?
Yeah, I got some questions already. A couple guys asked me if I'm going to get down in the spring. I'm going to do my best to get down there in the spring for the championship. So we'll see what happens. I think it's in April. So.
Yeah, I looked into it. It's like a week-long affair.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like happens right in the middle of the week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By the time you get your pre-fishing in, your travel, like you almost have to have the week off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in sales, so like if I'm not there, they just don't pay me. So
yeah,
I don't really care. But in the same breath, they're like, so okay, so there you go. Sly Fox just said the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th. That's actually perfect timing because they care less in the beginning of the month.
Well, yeah, they do. They got you can make up for it later.
Exactly. If I can come back and still sell my cars, they'll be like, okay, we don't care. So I mean, what I'll probably do is I'll probably finish the month of March out.
Yeah.
And then be like, bye guys, love you, I'm going.
Not a bad gig you got going on there. Some flexibility, which is nice. Bucktail.
Yeah, it's good and bad because like I said, while I'm gone, I don't get paid.
Right. But you're fishing. So
but yeah, exactly.
But you don't get paid. But you're fishing. But you don't get paid.
Yeah.
That revolving door conversation in your head.
Let me see. Does it work out perfectly? Yeah. Yeah, it works out kind of perfectly.
There you go.
Yeah. I should. I mean, look, as long as my money's good, I should be able to go.
There you go. Bucktail says, Bucktail Fishing, one of my, Gunnersville Knucklehead, one of the most memorable fishing trips ever. Can't wait to do it again. So if you're on the fence this past year,
definitely go.
Like, hey,
one critique. The only critique was, I wish that, and I know I sound like a little kid, and this is maybe me being a little selfish. I wish everyone could have had to stay at the campground or had to stay within a certain range so that I could go see everyone.
Yeah.
Like Gramps was like, I drove 15 hours and then I Google where Gramps is at.
45 minutes away.
30 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm not driving. I was like, I'm not going. I love the guy. I'm not going. No.
15 hours, Gramps.
Yeah.
I drove 10. And then we got there and like, hey, Gramps, where you at? It's like, all right, another 45.
Yeah.
I was like, and I would change up where I stayed and all that stuff. It's no great real central location.
Exactly. So that's the only thing I wish that there was like, I almost want it to be a little bit warmer out so that they could be like, hey, look, we understand everybody can't stay at the campsite, but everyone that can, bring a damn air mattress and sleep your ass outside and hang out with the guys, That would have been so, because like, I don't know if you came to our campsite, but the way it was set up, it would have worked out so perfectly. Like, it was just, imagine a giant cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And you just pulled your truck in, and then in the middle, there was like a middle, and then there were just campfires. So
nice.
Everyone would have stayed there. You could have just walked around the camps in the middle and just been chatting with everybody all night.
You know what? I might do that next year. We'll see. I'm getting old, so this whole idea of sleeping on the air mattress.
Oh, look, air mattress. Air mattress.
Oh,
hard
I slept
glamping.
on. I hiked the Appalachian Trail back in 2008.
Yeah,
I've slept on many of air mattresses in my life. They always end up
hard.
like a banana by the end of the night.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's like I want to be awake because we just drove 10 or 15 hours, in some cases 18 hours for some guys. And the idea of, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But Bucktail makes an interesting point here. He says, even if you don't make a team, right? And that'll happen. It's going to happen. Get down there for the fan fish off, because if you catch a 5 fish limit in the month, which you should if you're fishing a couple times, you still come down and still hang out and still have the experience.
Yeah, my boy Pat did it. He had a blast. He
Yeah,
literally just hung out with us the whole time.
absolutely.
You know,
And if you make it on that team, I mean, the team underdog who made the fan fish off team
they come in third or
came
fourth.
in third. They could have took first very easily if you look at the numbers, right?
One
One
more.
fish they
One
could
more.
have took. Yeah, they could have
Mhm.
one decent fish that everyone was. A lot of people were catching that day,
And the
and they.
crazy thing too is like Gunnersville's not like New York, where it's like if you have like okay, so like in a tournament up here, if you need a 20 to get in the lead, you're like
Yeah,
all right, like it's right. I'll catch it at 19.5.
right.
Like Gunnersville, there's 23s, there's 24s.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like
a lot of them.
yeah,
Lot
like
of them.
you could literally do that. Yeah, see, Bucktail just said 1.25 between first and
First and
third.
third. Yep.
So it was tight, I think we were at a guy, we had one guy who didn't catch a fish. If he did catch a fish, I think we would have been in like the top 10 or so like top 8,
Okay.
something like that. So
Wild and crazy, but it was fun. And so if you're thinking about it, be a part of it this year. It's not. It's the great thing is if you're
see,
like,
they said
okay,
there's 26s at Gunnersville, Sly Fox said. Jesus.
yeah, there's mass. I mean, I had Chad on the show a while ago, and I don't know if this is at Gunnersville, but ask him what the largest fish was ever measured, and he's like, it was a 28. However, it was DQ'd because I guess the guy took off his like PFD, and someone saw it because he like took a picture with a sponsor or something crazy like that, and they DQ'd his 28 inch bass. Jeez, could you imagine? Oh, wild and crazy. 28
inches.
inches. Freaking, I can't
What?
even get
How
my
much
mind
did that
around that.
thing weigh?
I don't remember that. Yeah, Sly Fox, like they had 14 pounders caught at Gunnersville.
Oh my gosh! Imagine.
I can't imagine. It's wild. It really is. It's fun to think about because definitely doing it again next year. I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
Um,
110%.
so one last question for you, because I always like asking this one, and then we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. But nuances to fishing New York and New Jersey, because you fish Jersey, which is where one of my teammates came from.
Yes. So I'm
So
North Jersey, Southern New York for the most part.
okay,
Yeah, I live in New Jersey. I live about 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the New York border. I'm in Bergen. So
okay.
it's right there.
Nuances to fishing that area for you?
Um Kind of have a spinning rod. It's the north. You gotta be I'm not gonna I would say like so I was against it for the first year and a half. I got back into fishing and then I started doing it and I'm like, I like doubled the fish that I caught.
Yeah.
Doubled. You go into a paddle tail, Ned rig, and a shaky head. And
There you
like
go.
I used to be that guy where I was like, oh, this is boring. It's not boring to catch fish. When you're throwing it and you're catching them, it's not that boring anymore. And then when you realize that this stupid little thing right here
Yeah.
will catch you a 4-pound smallie or a 21-inch smallie, or the biggest bass. And like I caught literally on this exact rig. Oh, dropped it. I caught a 4-pound largemouth at Rockland Lake, one of the tougher fisheries around here.
Is
Everybody and their mama goes there. I caught a 4.5-pounder on this.
that an owner?
No, I think this is a 6 cents one. Keel weighted. I think this is the whole 6 cents rig right here. But yeah.
I like those without the spinner on the back. I use those a lot for the pop frogs, the Z-Man pop frogs. It
Okay.
takes those frogs just under the water, maybe 6 inches to a foot, and man, they absolutely slay it. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, I'm already thinking about. Already
That's
think.
something else I got to get into.
What's that?
Paddling frogs.
Yeah, there you go.
The paddling frogs. Apparently, those are deadly.
They're fun, that's for sure. It's fun reading this over here. Apparently, Gramps is
Yeah,
on.
I saw that. Gramps is talking a little smack.
I love it. Apparently, I made the list.
Which shoulder is that? Is that the left?
List.
Is that your left shoulder? Is that your life? I'm a little upset that I didn't get hands on that.
Oh, so good.
I had a few scoffs and some teeth sucking when your team was up there. You know, I'm competitive. I always want to win. I'm glad you got it, but I damn sure want it for myself. So
no, I mean I hear you, and it's just oh man, I loved tournament fishing more than I thought I was going to. I was afraid at the
that was
beginning.
your first time?
That was my first tournament ever. I mean, it was like a series of tournaments, right? I was fishing because I fished in all 4 of my own tournaments. I even fished in Gramps tournaments.
It's my first tournament too.
There it is, baby. Fish your first tournament. You will win it, apparently.
That's it. That's it.
But I was afraid getting into it that I would be like, okay, Chad called me up. He asked me. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll try it out. And then I realized, oh, this is, and I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. What it was for me, I was like, okay, I got a YouTube channel. I was like, okay, am I any good? Right. And so you don't really know if you're any good unless you're fishing against other guys and girls who are actually really good.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, if I'm going to have a channel, I might as well kind of figure out if I have the juice. I mean, should people listen to me?
Exactly.
The research. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job.
And just give you a little validation. That was my biggest thing with that. That's why I was gunning, because I just wanted people to be like look, if everyone was cool enough, maybe I got 4 people from here and I might have just hit 600, but I only have like 600 subs. So it's not like I have, 598. I didn't even get 4. So if 2 of y'all would kindly.
Come on, two of y'all. Come over there. Mainstream fishing, not your mainstream fishing, not New York fishing, mainstream fishing.
But, I just wanted more or less wanted people to say like, okay, this guy's not just on here just to be on here. Like, he qualified for something. He did something, I think if I did the numbers, I think it was 426 anglers.
Yeah.
Went into the knucklehead.
Right. And during the 4 months.
Yeah, during the 4 months.
Yeah.
And I think 60 qualified.
Yep. That's about right.
I was one of those 65,
60. Right.
So I was like, all right, I'll take that. Yeah. I'll gladly take that. I will gladly take that.
Did you fish all 4 months, or do you just do one at a time until you made it?
I did one at a time until I made it, and then I stopped paying. I took the cheap route. Sorry, not sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I was just curious if you had.
So I did. What did I do? I did Gramps' team first, and I got smoked. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I see where this is going."
Do it. Whose name don't I recognize?
Yeah, exactly. So I jumped. That's when I jumped ships, and I went over to Paul and Jeff's team. I think I came in 3rd for Jeff's team, and then I came in, and then I won Paul's team. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, there was a strategy behind that for sure. As far as like team picking, can you see like, okay, these 3 people obviously went on Chad or Gene's
They're
team.
switching it up though. Chad said he's switching the rules up.
Okay, that's good, because it was kind of confusing because it took a couple of days to figure out, and people were kind of him-hawing on what teams are going to choose.
I don't mind. I don't care. I'm always down for the challenge.
Yeah.
But apparently I think a few people were, I wouldn't say upset. They just felt the way because they felt as though somebody's team had a bunch of hammers. And I was just like, it don't bother me at all. I live for the challenge. I love that.
Oh, 100%.
beating them makes it all more so sweet, But I think that if I heard correctly, and I don't know, we'll see what happens in what Chad gets going. But I think he said that the first couple people that win are going to be captains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of going to break it up a little bit. So then you'll create your own team, and then it kind of will put like, okay, so you're going to win. You won one of the first events, and you're more than likely going to be a hammer throughout the whole tournament. All right, well now you get your other own team with just 5 people.
I like that.
Yeah, which is
Get
pretty
behind
cool.
that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't think it's set in stone yet, though. Don't take
Right.
my
Then you have non-content creator teams, which is kind of fun, kind of
yeah,
breaks it up a little bit. And
exactly.
then, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
All right. Yeah. I was excited because those 4 months, I was up over 90. It was always north of 92 inches for the month. And the highest I got was
All 4 of them.
97. 90 to 97 is where I landed for all 4 months.
Nice. That's strong.
All right.
I
Yeah.
don't think I hit 90.
So what now?
I don't think I hit 90.
Okay.
I think it was like 88 and a half. Let me see if I can check quickly.
Yeah, while he's checking, Gramps is like, "Hey, we're still playing around with hold this is going to be done, obviously. So don't hold us to all that. This is all kind of
Exactly. Thank you, Gramps. Don't take what I said to be law. That's just over her and over Chad throwing some things out to that he was thinking about trying. Let me see dashboard. Knucklehead.
It was like 3,000 fish caught, if not more, just in those. And those are the ones.
Wow. In the Knucklehead, there was 9,761.
9,000. So if you think about that,
anglers.
So you think about that. That was only like those. After you caught 5, you didn't start. You started not taking photos of them and posting them at that point. So those are just like 10,000 posted. Can you imagine how many fish were actually caught? Okay. I would imagine like 3x.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Oh, I had an 89 and a half, I think was my best month.
Ah, bummer. But hey, if that's your area and that's.
Yeah, and the month I won with 82.5 in July.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a wild ride. I'm looking forward to see what Chad comes up with, and being a part of that, it's gonna be rad. BA Bass Angler said, Maine, I'm still paddling and have a hard time not getting into pedal game with a big fish 103 or 108. They've also got
I'm probably gonna get a pedal drive sooner or later. And it's more about just positioning with the wind.
Yep.
That's just, I have an Anchor Wizard, and it was literally like night and day. It's a big game changer. It's amazing. It's $100. If you want a quick Band-Aid, get an Anchor Wizard now. But if not, save some shekels and definitely look at the pedal drive. I'm probably going to do it soon. I'm definitely going to do it as soon as I can.
Yeah. And
as soon as I get through the holidays, I'm going to start saving hard for that.
Love it. This is Bucktail. I think, and a lot of people are saying some follow-up solid. He's like, hey, the one thing about Knucklehead series is showing how many hidden hammers are out there. They're coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And 100% Bucktail.
Oh, yeah.
That was exciting to see as well. I don't follow the tournament scene in general a whole lot, but I was like, whoa, there are some names that I'm not recognizing that are.
Yeah. And it's honestly kind of cool because you start to follow like the KBF scene. Like, people started to know who John Long was, Antoine, my boy Antoine Tweezy Bass Fishing. I knew who he was because I'm like, oh, dang, this guy's been at the top of Gramps' thing for like 3-4 months straight.
Right.
Holy smack. Liza, you start to see like, dang, who's this shorty? She's got 106 inches.
Crazy.
Good God. Like,
are you talking about Liz?
Yeah.
Right?
She had like 106 inches. I remember I'm like, who is this? Oh my God.
I had a couple guys like
in a row.
106. I'm like, what in the world?
I literally clicked her profile. I was like, can I send her a message and like ask her what she's throwing and she's doing? And I don't think Fishing Chaos allows you to do that, but I was like, yo, what's going on? She's killing it down there. Like,
Well, it was funny because Jack, one of my team members, I noticed he was signed up for a couple teams, and bro was putting up like 106, 105. And so when he won my team, Bearded Dad Fishing Team, and another team, I was talking to one of my other teammates. He's like, "You've got to reach out to him." It's like, I have no way to reach out to him outside.
Yeah.
I know his name, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows his name, but like, he doesn't have
He
any
doesn't have
type
socials.
of.
I
He
think
doesn't
he
have
just
social
made
media
it.
stuff. I
I think
found
he
him.
just made it.
I found him.
Wow.
And I was like, "Hey, I don't know if you chose a team yet, but I'd love for you to be on mine." And it took a few days for him to get back to an email. I didn't know if it was his or not that I randomly found on the internet, but that was awesome. Tammy
That's
Sanchez.
crazy because didn't he win? Didn't he catch the winning
He
fish?
did the clutch.
That's crazy. Yeah, he clutched up the.
Caught the clutch.
And you know what else is funny about that? He told me where to go.
What?
Because he's from down there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from down there.
Yeah, I was talking to him at the first night, and I'm like, he's like, "Oh, where'd you fish?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I fished over at Honeycomb." He goes, "Oh, go back there." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." So you went through the tunnel, you made the little right. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let's go there."
Let's go
I'm
there.
like, "Really?" He's like, "I'm not gonna go into it with you, buddy, but just
I
right."
said more than I wanted to say.
Yeah, he was like, and I'm like, "All right." And like literally, we went. It's so interesting. And we went back to the camp that night, and I'm telling everybody like, "Yo, we should go there. Yo, we should go there. Yo, we should go there." And everyone's like, "Oh no, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here." So I went to 2 other spots, and we had 3 hours left, and it was an hour drive to get down to Honeycomb.
Oh,
and I was like, "I'm going."
Oh, that's right. You're telling a story. All right, keep
Yep,
going. Keep going.
suicide drive. I was like, I'm going. I skunked all day. I was like, "Look, this is it. This is the marbles right here." So that's
And
part
Chad
of
just got done
that.
telling the story the night before about KVD like going 4 hours to go fish a
Yep.
spot and won
Yep.
it. And so you're feeling inspired at the moment.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is it. This is it. So it paid off. It paid off. And good thing, like I felt bad for Rocca because Rocca wasn't catching them, but my boy Pat caught a couple too in the same area.
Okay.
And he was, he just wanted to catch one thing because that whole pre-fish, I think he hooked one and lost one, and I hooked 2. I hooked 2 dinks and lost 2 dinks. So
I heard a lot of stories of people having some monsters on and then losing them at the yak. So I mean, all it takes is someone's one fish to break off and you land one. And I mean, it's so fragile, especially when you get to the end of it and you're talking like an inch and a half, which is typically how these go, by the way.
yeah,
it's not wild and crazy. There's usually between first and 10, there's not a whole lot of, you're talking about quarter inches. But still it's pretty fragile. And like, I forgot my net on tournament day. I had so much crap in my truck, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not going. I could go back for it, but I don't have a motor, so that's like an hour and a half.
Yes,
I'm just not going to do it because I feel pretty comfortable lipping bass, and then of course grab that big one I had, the 22, and I was like, crap, if I lose this because I don't have my net, one, Gramps will never let me live it down. Because he's been on me to get a net, and about 15 other people will be on me to get a net for such a long time. And so I got lucky. Didn't actually lose one because of not having a net, but I didn't have it that day.
Yeah. I boat flipped my big boy.
You what? You boat flipped it. There you go.
I left my net because of the run. We made the run. I left the net in the car. And then like, I caught one fish before that. It was like literally a 12-incher. And I was like, oh, I don't have my net. And I said, I'm like, oh, I'm going to catch a giant now.
Yep. That works. If you don't have your camera, forgot the battery, or forgot your net, watch out. It's going to be a good day, folks.
It's going to be a good day. Yep.
Well, Jermaine, thank you so much. If you guys haven't done so yet, please head over to his YouTube channel. I know he's on Instagram as well. Give him a sub. Keep this community rocking and rolling. Also, head over to Kayak Fishing Freaks over at Facebook, starting that group up, and I'd love for you to be a part of that. Next week, I have Jamison Redding, Road Trip Angler, on. What I love is finding people are just getting kind of YouTube channels rocking and rolling, but have really a lot of value to add to the community. And so That's like the day after Christmas. So we're going to be talking about what we got for Christmas and fishing related and all that fun stuff. So I will see you on the 26th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Jermaine, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having on.
Appreciate you bringing me on.
All right, everyone. You have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Deuces.